So you also spoke about your children. Um, I'm just wondering, in your experience, what would be systematic steps that you could recommend fathers that they could take to teach their children the necessary skills for being a successful entrepreneur?
Well, it goes back to intentionality. And I told the client that I was talking to this morning earlier, I said, he's got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old son. And I said, if you want to forge a relationship like you've never had, let me give you a suggestion. I said, pick up your son this afternoon at school, take him to the local ice cream parlor and sit down and say, hey, Billy, I've got this problem. I'm dealing with this situation and I need your input, right? Then the kids feel they're a part of your life. They're not in the way. I've got a great spiritual mentor. His name was Bob Warren. He passed away 3 years ago, but he had a son named Benjamin. And I've known this guy for almost 20 years. Every time Benjamin would come around, his dad would set down whatever he was doing. He would walk Benjamin to a chair. He would sit down and he would ask him the question, what is it, son, you'd like to know? And his son would ask the question. His dad would fully dive in. He would tell him exactly the answers. His son would go away satisfied. He'd get back up. We'd start doing whatever we had to do. Every single time he would do that for his son. And one day I asked him, I said, Bob, I said, it's amazing to me how you take that time for your son. He's like 4 or 5 years old. Most parents would say, get out of here, man. I'm working on this. I ain't got time to fool with that. I'll get with you later, right? But Bob said, my goodness, what is more important than my son? What could I possibly be working on that has more value than my son? Now today, his son's 25 years old, a thriving entrepreneur. He's about to get married. His dad passed away 3 years ago, and I have the privilege of giving him away at the wedding. I'm going to be his best man. And so I can't wait for that opportunity to have with that young man. But the reason he is such a great young man is his dad invested time and energy and effort into his son. And so your children are not in the way. Your children are a gift. And we need to be spending time breathing life into our children and teaching them, because too many times we get preoccupied with things that are not important and we let that be the substitute over things that are important. If you really want to make an impact in your children's life, they spell love, T-I-M-E. And if we're not willing to give the time, it's going to be a devastating thing, and it's going to have greater repercussions on the relationship long term. We must give our children time.
Wow. Sorry, I got I got quiet there for a second. That was deep. Yeah, brilliant advice.